Side of town right now.
Yeah. Okay, it is 7 o'clock now, and the Charter Township of Plymouth Board of Trustees regular meeting for Tuesday, February 6, 2024 will come to order. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Stewart.
Here.
Trustee Monahan.
Yes.
Trustee Kermy.
Here.
Trustee Buckley.
Here.
Clerk Forva here. Treasurer Dorshevitz.
Here.
Supervisor Heising.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, so next up is the Pledge of Allegiance. We have with us tonight Javian Johnson. He is the Out County Coordinator for External Affairs and Engagement on behalf of Warren Evans, Wayne County Executive. So welcome.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, tonight's a very special night because we are going to have the pinning ceremony for our newest police sergeant, Mike Hinkle. And Chief Nitel, please tell us more about our new sergeant and the ceremony that we are about to witness.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Tonight truly is an exciting evening for the Plymouth Township Police Department. Tonight we add Sergeant Mike Hinkle to our rank of command of the Plymouth Township Police Department. Through a very rigorous process at the police department, Mike finished #1 in our testing process to become a sergeant today. To start off, I think it's very important. I know Sergeant Spinko's here from the Northville Township Police Department. Thanks for being here, Sarge, as well as all of a lot of Mike's comrades out there. Thank you all for showing up tonight. I'd like to start real briefly with having Mike introduce the most important people in his life, his family. Mike, could you introduce your family, please?
My mom, Carolyn, my mother-in-law, Michelle, my dad, Jim, and my father-in-law, Kevin. Unfortunately, my wife and daughter are pretty sick tonight, so they had to stay home.
All right. Well, very good. And thank you, Mike's family, for being here tonight. To give you a little bit of background about Sergeant Mike Hinkle. Sergeant Mike Hinkle was raised in the city of Livonia. Sergeant Hinkle is a proud graduate of Divine Child High School in 2008. Go Falcons. Yeah. Following his high school career, Mike received an athletic scholarship to Wayne State University, and he graduated from Wayne State University 2013 with a degree in criminal justice. Mike's athletic scholarship, you might find this hard to believe. Mike was a starting offensive lineman, guard center for the football team. As former football players, former coaches would say, he's the guys that get their knuckles down in the dirt. So, yeah, and as a former quarterback, I always appreciate the big linemen. So, Mike, in his time playing for Wayne State, played in the Division II National Championship in 2011. Following his college career, Mike attended the Wayne County Regional Police Academy in November 2013. Mike graduated #1 in his class. And as being #1 in his class, MCOLS, which certifies all police officers in the state of Michigan, honored Mike with the Outstanding Performance Award, which is given to one graduate of each police academy in the state of Michigan. So that's a very significant honor that Mike had and got. Mike joined the Plymouth Township Police Department in November 11th, 2013. Some of the assignments that Sergeant Hinkle currently has, is he works on the Western Wayne Special Operations Team, which is a SWAT team, a regional team. We have 2 members here at Plymouth Township that are part of that Western Wayne consortium. Mike's duties in that unit is Mike is a sniper. He's a sniper team leader. He's a SWAT operations instructor at the Plymouth Township Police Department. Mike is a field training officer, firearms instructor, active shooter instructor, defensive tactics instructor, and he worked in the Detective Bureau from 2019 to 2022. So far, Mike has just had a fantastic career. Again, we are very excited to his family. We're very excited to add him to our command staff here, to add him to the leadership team, the Plymouth Township Police Department. At the Plymouth Township Police Department, as some know, we have a tradition of a badge pinning, and a badge pinning is very significant. My father was a Detroit police officer, and he pinned my badge when I became a police officer. He pinned my badge when I became a sergeant. So it's very significant, and for our badge pinning ceremony here today, I'd like to welcome Mr. Jim Hinkle, if you could come up, sir. He's a gentleman with the United States flag on his hat. And if you could pin your son's badge, appreciate it. that, that concludes our ceremony, but I'd just like Mike to say a few words, if you would, please.
Hopefully everybody's comfortable. It's going to take a while. No, I just want to say thank you, Chief Nitel. Thank you, Lieutenant Krebs, Assistant Chief Gudra. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank the board. I love working here. Hope to spend the next 15 plus years here and keep that going. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. And so for friends and family, we're going to continue with our meeting, but you can certainly go out in the hall and take photos. We would encourage that. So you don't have to sit here and listen to us.
Mr. Supervisor.
So at this point, it is item C, approval of the agenda. So we do have an add-on tonight. I'm going to ask Attorney Kevin Bennett to walk us through the add-on agenda item.
The consent agenda.
And it's going to be added to, with your approval, this would be added to the consent agenda, item D to C, and then we will be voting on the consent agenda with a roll call vote to formalize this motion. So,
You're putting this on the consent agenda?
Yes.
why not? We're going to vote on it.
Well, I think we need to have some discussion.
No,
He's-
we're doing that right now.
I don't
So,
think you should. This is pretty important, so
okay, so Kevin, let's go. It's important.
Okay. At its meeting on January 29th, 2024, the Planning Commission voted to unanimously rescind its recommendation to the Board of Trustees to approve the proposed site plan and PUD contract for the Northfield Downs project. Under the zoning ordinance, the applicant, Northfield Downs, has 1 year to present an acceptable development plan and PUD contract before the PUD eligibility option expires. The option, in this case, will expire on February 27th. The Planning Commission's rescission was based on Northfield Downs' failure to comply with 4 of the 6 conditions on which the commission based the recommendation. The 4 unfulfilled conditions include the following: the outstanding items from the planner's report be addressed. Laura Hall was at the Planning Commission meeting, and she outlined the manner in which the applicant failed to comply with that condition. Second condition was that the outstanding items from the engineer's report be addressed. In this case, engineer Jeremy Schrott not only submitted a letter to the Planning Commission wherein the applicant failed to fulfill its condition, he also didn't testify. He gave information at the Planning Commission meeting. The third condition is that there is a revised PUD contract that includes a provision for a community benefits agreement to be submitted to the township attorney and must be determined by the board and attorney to be acceptable. All items of the PUD contract must be found satisfactory to the township attorney and the board of attorneys. The applicant's attorney sent a letter directly to the Board of Trustees indicating that they were not going to engage in a community benefits agreement. So that condition was also unfulfilled. The final condition was that the final landscape plan is reviewed administratively, and planner Laura Ha addressed that issue at the Planning Commission meeting. Further, the Board of Trustees voted unanimously to rescind Resolution 2023-02-28-14, authorizing negotiations of the planned unit development for Northfield Downs with the Township Supervisor and the Township Attorney. Section 23.7.2 sub B of the zoning ordinance provides that upon receipt of the Planning Commission's recommendation, the Township Board shall review the development plan and PUD contract and shall deny, approve, or approve with conditions the development plan and PUD contract. The decision for and the basis for the decision shall be recorded in the meeting minutes. Therefore, the board must tonight vote to approve, deny, or approve with conditions the development plan and PUD contract. Based on what has transpired, it would appear that the board, this is a discretionary consideration with the board. I'm not making a recommendation here, but it would appear that based on how things have transpired with Northfield Downs, ostensibly engaging in bad faith negotiations with respect to the community benefits agreement and the PUD contract, and their failure to comply with the conditions set forth by the Planning Commission in their recommendation. They have failed to fulfill their obligations to get approval by the Board of Trustees. But ultimately, again, that is an issue for the board. So the board should make a motion to deny, approve, or approve with conditions the Northfield Downs Development Plan and PUD contract for the reasons stated by the Planning Commission at its meeting on January 29, 2024, and for the reason that the applicant has failed to fulfill 4 of the 6 conditions upon which the commission based its rescinded recommendation, and that the applicant has failed to negotiate in good faith. Does the board have any questions for me?
So I have one question to start off. The letter, I'm sorry, so the Planning Commission proposed minutes and the other attachments from Spalding. Is there an attachment from Laura Haw or no?
There is not.
Okay.
But she didn't testify, I'm sorry.
I know.
She gave a presentation to the Planning Commission
Okay.
on how the applicant has failed to comply with that condition.
Okay, so we have not only the community benefits agreement that they have rejected, they also have not complied with key elements of the planned unit development from the planning perspective and from the engineering perspective.
And landscape perspective.
And landscape. It's also my understanding they never filed an escrow so that the engineers could evaluate the
As
situation.
set forth in the engineer's letter, generally the escrow is paid within 7 days of the submission of the plans, and Northfield Downs still has not submitted an escrow.
Okay. All right, now, so these attachments and everything, for purposes of recordation and the minutes of this meeting, what do you recommend we do? Do you want us?
I recommend that these be implemented into the meeting minutes.
Okay, like as an attachment? Because,
Yes.
I mean, we're building a record here, as we know, so we want to make sure that this is out there for everyone to see.
Right.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Mr. Kermy?
Yeah, I'm totally surprised because I didn't read my email late this afternoon. This was not mentioned in the closed session or at the meeting last time. What happened?
Yeah, it was.
Well, I know, but why did it get added at the absolute, if it was, why did it get added at the last minute?
That would be my miscommunication with the supervisor.
Part of the problem, Chuck, is that we only have one meeting this month. And so if we had another meeting, theoretically, we could have brought this forward at that time. But because this is our only meeting, and I don't think anybody wants to have a special meeting just on this topic, that's the route that we're taking tonight. And it is awkward. I can get 4 lawyers in a room and give you 4 different opinions, but this is Kevin's recommendation, and
Well, that's what worries me. Are we walking into a lawsuit here? Are we doing everything right?
Yes. I also looked into today whether or not, to comply with the Open Meetings Act, an agenda has to be submitted. An agenda does not have to be submitted for compliance with the Open Meetings Act. All you have to put down is the name of the public body, the location of the meeting, the date of the meeting, and the time of the meeting. That is sufficient for Open Meetings Act purposes. Further, because we have 7 members of the board here today, even if there was a special meeting wherein there is some argument that could be made that an agenda has to be provided for a special meeting and the board cannot discuss or transact business for anything outside of what's on that agenda, I don't think that is the case. That is under general township law. However, under charter township law, those rules are relaxed a little bit. But that's moot anyway because this is a regular meeting and it's not a special meeting.
okay. Any other questions for Kevin?
I was just going to ask, do you think it might be helpful if we include Laura Haas? Did she author her opinion in a letter?
I would assume that she did, but that would have been when the PUD development plan was first submitted. What she stated was that they didn't submit a full development plan. They submitted some sketches. So there hasn't even been a site plan or a development plan, a legitimate development plan submitted to the township yet.
Thank you.
Okay, Bob?
Mr. Supervisor, I
Mr.
move to
Mr.
deny the Northfield Downs Development Plan and PUD contract for the reasons stated by the Planning Commission at its meeting on January 29th, 2024, and for the reason that the applicant has failed to fulfill 4 of the 6 conditions upon which the commission based its rescinded recommendation, and that the applicant has failed to negotiate in good faith.
Okay,
Excuse me, I thought we had to vote to have a unanimous vote to amend the
Agenda?
agenda?
okay, you're right,
Yeah.
you're right, Jerry. So, hold,
motion hasn't been seconded yet. You can table that motion for now.
well, it hasn't been seconded yet, so let's just
Table
hold that in reserve for now. So at this point, given what we know, I would like a motion to approve tonight's agenda as amended.
So moved.
Okay, motion made by the clerk, is there a second?
Second.
Second
The
by-
amended, it's going to be in the consent agenda?
Yeah, it's gonna be in the consent
Consent
agenda. We're gonna vote on it, though. We're gonna vote on it in the consent agenda, just like we do many other times for contracts.
This is just amending the consent agenda.
Yeah, we're just amending the consent agenda at this point. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, now, let's just review the consent agenda. We have the it's self-explanatory, no, but I'm just saying that we're going to add item D2C, which is the motion, the motion regarding Northfield Downs. Okay, any other questions or comments on the consent agenda, though? We have other items on there,
Hold
so.
on,
We need to amend the agenda.
hold for a second.
And we just did.
I'm a little confused. If it's on the consent agenda, then it's already voted on when you vote to approve the consent agenda.
Yeah,
No,
But we haven't added the Dorshevitz deny
we've approved.
word.
Yeah, we've approved the consent agenda with the add-on. Did I not make that clear? We did that on a voice vote.
Yeah, right, I got that. But if we if we vote to approve the consent agenda by, incorporated by references, is this document that would be approved
Yeah.
with this motion. All right, let's just continue on.
Yeah, I mean, it's now been added on as item
C.
D2C. Okay?
But don't we, so we need to vote to put the word deny in?
No, well, as Bob can read it again, and then what will happen is we will then approve the consent agenda. We've approved the consent agenda to add the resolution. Now we're going to approve the consent agenda and take a roll call vote to ratify the motion.
But it has to specifically say deny.
But he did say
said
deny.
I know, but it wasn't second, I don't
No, it's
understand,
not.
how do you get that in there?
It's tabled right yet.
We jumped the gun on
Yeah,
that.
it's
so.
tabled.
Okay, shall I read it again?
Kevin,
Take it
are
off
you
the
okay
table.
with all that? It's been motioned to put it on the consent agenda. We are now, assuming we have no other questions about the consent agenda, we are now going to vote on the consent agenda, which now includes this matter.
I believe it should be specified, the way I drafted this, that the board is going to deny,
Yeah.
because I didn't put that in there. I put what the board's options were, because this is a discretionary consideration for the board. I'm not going to presume anything, but if the board is
Why don't
going to
we-
deny it,
but-
which
but-
appears logical, that should be specified.
My point is, by definition, approving the consent agenda approves everything that is in the consent agenda.
Yes, but it was good that you read that motion first, because it contained the word deny.
Gotcha, okay.
But nobody seconded it.
No.
No, nobody seconded that yet, so you can revisit that one right now.
So
Second.
just reread it with the
I just
word
said
deny.
second, because we tabled it.
Well, we've tabled it, so now Audrey
Yeah,
has seconded
second
it.
it.
Yes.
So we are going to vote on the consent agenda with the add-on, which is to deny.
Yes.
But we have the add-on officially added with the right, how did we get the right word in there? We had-
Denied, he said
I
denied.
I know,
Read
but
it.
it's just a wave of the wand, you put in those words?
It will be reflected in the minutes,
In the
because it's
minutes.
an add-on.
I said deny.
I know you said that, but
That's what he wanted to be added, that the word denied would be added.
Right.
I want to make sure we're doing this perfectly right. So.
We are.
Okay,
I don't know how we can do it any differently at this point.
Do we
so.
have to have it on the consent agenda?
Well, otherwise it goofs up our sequence, you know.
Well, we're at the second already, so
We've
maybe.
got we do have a motion on the table.
If there's a motion and a
Made and
second,
seconded.
it belongs to the board now.
All right,
Okay, so Bob has made the motion to deny. Do we need a motion now to, so we didn't need a roll call?
Yes, we
Because
need
that,
a roll call.
because that covers the motion and it covers
Exactly.
the rest of the consent. agenda.
Because what he said was, that's what you wanted the consent agenda to say was the word denied, because there was an option of 3 choices.
Right.
So now you can do a roll call.
Okay,
A roll call on the deny word?
Yes, no,
On the whole
on the
thing.
consent agenda with the word denied in it.
Who's on first?
No,
Who's
we're
on
getting there.
second? I
We're
don't know
getting
who's
there.
on third, but that's.
Sausage
I think
factory,
that's-
right?
I think that's fine.
It's fairly straightforward, gentlemen.
Supervisor Heisey.
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Clerk Vorba, yes. Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Trustee Kermy.
Yes.
Trustee Monahan.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kevin, thank you all for your patience. Public comment limited to 3 minutes. You want to put the clock up there? Anybody?
Gentleman from Wayne County?
I have a question.
Well, I mean, it's up to him if he wants to talk, so.
Before we start, on the planning commission, there was a item in there that said Verizon added some equipment on Ann Arbor Road. Does anybody know what that was?
It's a small, what is it called? A small cell tower or something like that? It's wireless technology. I'm not sure exactly what it does.
It's on a pole or it's on a
It's on a
building?
pole.
Okay.
I think it's called small cell.
It's not 5G.
No, I think it's, I'm not entirely sure what the technology is. I asked the engineer and he wasn't sure either.
Okay,
Hi, Mary Ann Adams. Thank you for going through that process. That was going to be my first question after going to the Planning Commission meeting, understanding how that was going to be solidified in our minutes. So thank you for that. While the recent Board and Planning Commission decisions are welcomed, in my mind, this will never be over until the Carlo brothers sell that property, never apply for another race license in the state, or are granted a license for somewhere outside of our township. As I've said many times before, this is a government-subsidized, well-documented declining business with ongoing problems that sees no solution to improving without the addition of expanded gaming. This was clearly stated in the last board meeting by a horse owner and by Tom Barrett, current president of the Michigan Harness Horsemen's Association, who was recently quoted as saying that a new track will be built and that additional gaming could be added to support it, specifically referencing slot-like machines. While a second phase gaming facility was vehemently denied nearly a year ago as being part of Northville Downs of Plymouth, it was documented and desired, as Mr. Barrett also stated. He continues to reiterate, as do others in the industry, horse racing needs it. Quite interesting that they're not looking at the abundance of data that suggests that expanding gaming does nothing to support the horse racing industry as people turn to more simpler methods of gaming, as recently confirmed in a 60 Minutes episode this past Sunday. So keeping Northville Downs out of our community remains important for many residents, as well as myself, for a variety of reasons, as I wouldn't be here time and time again, as have been so many other residents who have come forward, and also for those many dedicated individuals who have been tirelessly working behind the scenes, contributing their different talents to this effort. Given all that, I am hoping that your strategy provides sufficient legal defense to avoid any further action by Northville Downs to attempt to force itself onto our community, unlike the Meyer development. If there is any intent to force themselves onto our community, the residents want to be represented at the table. We will also continue to lobby for change at the state level to prevent this from happening to other communities, since this is, no matter how you slice it, overwhelmingly a casino. But if Northville Downs gets its way, the only welcome they will receive is continuous and ongoing legal protests to a level they may have not yet experienced at their old facility, to be reminded they are not welcome in our township. And if we are kept whole and able to keep them out of our community, I would remind Gary Heitman to not further threaten the community with something worse there.
Thank you. Your time is up, and we don't use this forum to attack anybody else in the audience.
I'm not attacking, those were
We're not
comments.
calling people out for public scorn.
I'm just reiterating what
Thank you.
was said in the meeting earlier last year, so.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Dwayne Zantup. All you guys know who I am. Sorry. Northfield Township official, I'm speaking on behalf of Bob Harris, who couldn't be here tonight. A Northfield Township official told Bob Harris the Northfield Myers is the epicenter of crime in the township. I had a long talk with Judge Plaktis, who told me the same thing. Mr. Harris was concerned about this and passed the information on to Mr. Heisey. Heisey emailed the following comment to Mr. Harris, and all of you received a copy of this. Didn't you get the message from Joe Zerb and Shannon Price that the fight's over? Please check with your pals for further updates. I'm sorry that Shannon is still playing me. This is an unacceptable response for someone expressing a serious matter. Heisey sends out similar responses to me and others. He accuses me of associating with people I don't even know. By responding to the constituents and copying all of this puts you all in bad light. It appears this is an official response from all of the board members. And now, to me, this makes you all look bad. And some of you responded back to me that you didn't like this kind of a response to the constituents. And that's all I want to say about it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Mr. Johnson?
If I may, I know you have a good communication with Wayne County, having been a former employee of Wayne County. Mr. Javian Johnson responded to my phone call 24 hours ago.
All right.
And I'm grateful that you are here, and I promised you a warm welcome. Once people know what you can do for us.
Absolutely.
In Plymouth Township.
I thank you for the invite. So good evening to this honorable body, to the wonderful residents of Plymouth Township. My name is Javian Johnson. I'm the community outreach liaison for the Wayne County Executive, Warren C. Evans. I just wanted to bring you greetings, say hello, put a face to the name if you've seen my emails at all. And I just wanted to let you all know if you cannot reach anybody directly through our departments and divisions, that I can serve as a mediator to make sure that some of your concerns are met via the Wayne County services and different things of that nature. So I will leave the rest of my cards by the door. If anybody needs that, please make sure you take one. And I look forward to connecting with everyone throughout the rest of this year. So thank you for this time.
Righty.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming.
Can you take any input from us tonight?
Absolutely.
All right. Snow removal on Ann Arbor Trail from the Livonia line to the city of Plymouth. It's been really bad in the 1 or 2 times we needed it this year. We're not plowing, the mailmen can't get to the mailboxes because we're also not plowing the shoulders. So it's drastic when you look at what Livonia does and what Wayne County does, because there's a demarcation at Eccles Road. Mm-hmm. So if we could get some help with that, it would be great.
And I will ask, I did leave my card. If you could email that just in case, that would be helpful.
Do you have his card?
Yeah, you want me to email it to you?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can email
And
that to me.
reiterate what I just said?
Yeah.
Yes,
Really?
just
Okay.
to be specific. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, everybody, anybody else? Yeah, hi.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Library person.
I'm sorry.
Hi, my name's Heather Pacheco, and I'm here as Community Relations Specialist for the library. And apparently I'm the levity for the evening. So I just wanted to take my little 3 minutes to give you a quick rundown of 2023 at the library.
Oh, okay.
For the citizens and for you as well. So this year, the library went through an in-depth analysis of representation of diverse perspectives in our collection, and we've gathered a lot of data to help us fill gaps in knowledge in order to increase the quality of our collection. We are growing our library of things at the library, which formerly was computers and hotspots and magnifying glasses, but now also includes an adult technology collection, a youth STEAM exploration kit collection, an outdoor collection with hiking poles and bird watching kits and metal detectors, and a board game collection, and it's growing. So Library of Things is one to watch at the library. We are seeing a shift continually towards online reading. We have not come back on physical materials from the COVID, but online reading is like we've never seen it before. So we're paying attention to that and making sure we're making adjustments in what we're purchasing, licenses for online as well as physical materials. So last year in 2023, the library had 852 programs for our residents, more than 3,700 outreach interactions out in the community, 37,000 plus questions answered at our service desk, and more than 3,000 hours of volunteer time that our ever generous community gave to the library. Some other highlights, we had outstanding success with our summer reading program last year, including more adults participating than we've ever seen before. More than 1,800 people participated and read their way through the summer. And we have big gratitude for business sponsors who gave us coupons as rewards instead of plastic tchotchkes, moving in an eco-friendly direction and supporting local business, all for a win-win-win. We had a terrific Maker Fest in August that is highlighting our lab, which now has a Glowforge laser engraver, sewing, serging, and embroidery machines, Cricut cutters, and thermal heat press for making t-shirts and mugs, and 3D printers, and lots of fun things for y'all to check out there if you're not aware. We celebrated our centennial in 2023, and we are grateful to everybody who turned out at various events to help us celebrate, including the gala. We've got new software that makes sending print jobs from home easier, paying with a credit card easier, and enables us to offer free copies to the public. Up to 10 free copies or prints per day per person. And we've got a new 501c3 status that allows us to easier access grants and financial fundraising, as so many people helped us with during 2023 for our exciting new amphitheater. And we hope that you will all mark your calendars for Saturday, June 1st, which will be our ribbon cutting for that new space for outdoor programming.
And what day is that?
Saturday, June 1st.
Okay.
That will be a kickoff for our summer reading program and a ribbon cutting for the amphitheater.
Cool.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry, so where does the library stand in terms of bringing this drag
I'm sorry,
story time?
in terms of
Where
drag
does the
programs?
library stand with bringing something like that to Plymouth?
I would say that we don't have a specific stance. It's not a program that we have endeavored to do at the library so far. We certainly are welcoming to all people at the library, which is intrinsically what a library is all about, is to be welcoming to all members of our community, supportive of all members of our community.
So there hasn't
But
been
that
a
program
push
question
by
hasn't
there
come
hasn't been
up.
a push by anybody to conduct something like that at
There
our
has not.
library?
No, there has
Thank
not.
you.
And I certainly would welcome you to more specifically discuss that with our director, Shauna Anderson. She's probably the right person for you to inquire with that.
Yeah, question, comment. Audiobooks, are you expanding the
We are.
catalog?
So audiobooks, for those who might not know, work in a license format. So they have hold lists just like physical books do, but we are a part of the Michigan, we are part of the collaborative of libraries. So we have access to not only our e-books and audiobooks, but also those owned by a lot of different area libraries. So that's one way that we're helping make access to that more.
Yeah,
And we also are, we also offer something called Hoopla, which is a digital streaming for books and audiobooks and music and movies and television shows, as well as other streaming platforms to help people with that digital media consumption.
Just not a lot of titles available when I've searched before.
For, are you talking about physical audiobooks? Or
Audiobooks.
are you also considering our online?
Online, so you can check them out.
There's a lot. I can't give you this exact total off the top of my head, but I'd be happy to email you that information.
So do we, to get that online, we use an app to get it to our phone?
Yes, it's an app called Libby. It's by Overdrive. It used to be called Overdrive. Now it's called Libby. It's a free app.
L-I-B-Y?
L-I-B-B-Y.
L-I-B-B-Y.
It's got a little girl as the sort of icon. It's a free app that you download, and also through Libby you can access not only our books, but books through multiple collaboratives throughout the state of Michigan. So
you use your library card number?
that's right.
Yeah, I use it.
Right. And so digital resources are limited to Plymouth cardholders. We do welcome people from other libraries to utilize the library, but because of the licensed nature of those materials, people need to do that through their home library. So you do need your Plymouth Library card to access those materials.
So Heather, this document here, this is great. I don't recall ever seeing anything like this before. If you could give us this in electronic format, we can
Sure.
put it on our website and our
Happy to
Facebook
do that.
page, and that'll expand your reach quite a bit.
Very good. I will do that.
Yeah.
So you are you were involved in communications, right?
Yeah, community relations.
One suggestion is the elected board of
Yes.
the library. It would be good to put it in the newsletter and online what their email address is so that we can get information to them.
Okay.
Because remember, they're elected people.
I can't remember if it's on the
Well,
website.
it used to
but-
be, and then the new director, I think, changed the
Okay.
format because now you have a new newsletter size.
We do, that's true, yes.
And it's gone now with the new newsletter size.
Okay.
Used to have their email address,
Okay.
but it would be good. They're
Take
elected
that
people,
recommendation back with me.
and somebody may want to give them some input.
Sure.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay, all set, John?
Real quick,
Hold on.
thank you, Heather Pacheco. The library is a model all across Michigan. I use the Herrick Library in Holland, Michigan. And you are known for providing A1 resources and services, even education, which is now a mosaic, from homeschool to public school to private school to whatever. But I want to thank you. You are a shining model all across Michigan, and keep on keeping on. And you hired away the Henry Ford tech guy, Bruce Coldus, and there isn't anybody more knowledgeable with IT. So thank you.
Good, thank you.
Okay, thanks. All right, we're going to move on to item F1. This is the purchase of the new, it's called BRYX, B-R-Y-X, Fire Station Alerting System. Chief Conley, would you tell us what that's all about?
If you recall, this is from the budget. This was budgeted last year for this year. This is going to replace the, should I say, cobbled together radio system we have in the stations. It's a very fragile system that has basically been put together by installers on the fly. It's really pretty sad and not dependable. And to try to get someone to replace the current system, the person that originally installed it is not available. So the way they did it would just be from the ground up. So this is a new digital system that ties in through the cloud to the dispatch center, and will send all the information to the stations. And also, it's going to streamline our responses because instead of having to go look at the map, it comes right up on the board and shows you right how to get to the calls as they come in. It's basically taking our dispatching into the 21st century.
Should it improve response time?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Can you give us a little, I don't completely understand the sequence of how the data, how it flows and what it does, what it looks like on the screen or that kind of thing. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, as the dispatchers input the information into the computer, as they're taking the call, they're inputting it into the computer, and that'll send the call right to us.
So they're typing in the data in the dispatch center.
Yes, as they receive the call, they're taking information and processing the call. It takes them a little bit of time to do that, and then it takes them time to dispatch it separately.
So that converts to a voice command in the station?
Correct.
All right, that's what I didn't completely understand.
It's voice to or text to voice, and it's actually really clear. It's quite remarkable how clear it is.
And then is there a way to replay it? In other words, maybe I didn't hear
Well,
it.
at that point, we'd be talking to the dispatchers. It's just a notification. It's just a notification, tell you got a call, but when we get out to the truck, then we check in with the dispatcher and go from there.
Does it give you the address, or does it automatically load the address on a screen with a GPS?
Both. So it tells you the address, and then it also, like I say, we're going to have screens in the station, and instead of going up, and if you've seen our maps in our stations, you got to kind of do the cross triangulation thing, find it, and then you go to the map book, and look up the actual page where it's at, and you go from there. This, it's gonna be, boom, oh, cool, we're going right there, and you just out the door and you're gone.
Okay, any other questions for the chief? Hearing none?
What's the date it'll be in?
Hopefully by the end of this month, if not the end of March. Can go real
Okay.
quick on it.
Anybody interested in making a motion?
Yeah. Gotta find the, I move that the Board of Trustees does hereby adopt Resolution 2024-02-06-07 to purchase the BRYX Fire Station Alerting System from BRYX Incorporated for a cost not to exceed $103,925.
Okay, motion's been made by trustee Kermy. Is there a second? Second by treasurer Dorchevitz. Minister Clerk, please take the roll.
Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Kermy.
Yes.
Trustee Monahan.
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Supervisor Heisey.
Yes.
Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Next up is our annual presentation on Hilltop Golf Course by AMV Ventures. We have Tony Mosconi, who is the commander-in-chief of AMV, and his team. They're going to give us the highlights of the season 2023 and more good news about our revenue sharing with the golf course. And I will add that due to the warm weather we're having, it sounds like the golf course is going to be open starting tomorrow through Sunday. So February golf in Michigan. That's what we're doing now.
Strange thing.
Good evening. I wanted to say, I think I've said this before, but as I get older, I forget. Thank you. Thank you very much to the board. Thank you very much to the community of Plymouth. It's been an honor. It's a pleasure. This is 2023 was our 5th year on our 5-year agreement. Then last year we extended it for another 5 years. And it's been fantastic. That first year we had a little bit of loss, which we covered, and then ever since then, as unfortunate the pandemic may have been for golf, it's been an incredible blessing. And Hilltop has reaped some of the benefits. A lot of this stuff, and as I was writing down some thoughts here last minute, was evolve. The golf course really is evolving over time from when we picked it up to where we are now to where we want it to be going down the future. So for instance, in 2023, Plymouth Township supported us in adding a door to the vestibule with the thought of trying to gain some other revenue streams for the golf course besides golf. So our thought this year is we remove some shrubs, we're going to create sort of an outdoor beer garden, and that'll be stage 1 into possibly stage 2 or 3, where the beer garden could turn into a patio, could turn into some outdoor food and beverage. Just thinking long-term down the road, what else can we do with Hilltop to make it more of a central location for the community. On the golf course, goes back to that word evolve. We've done a lot of the stuff that we've done before, we're continuing to do, and I just noticed I had continue in here quite a few times. But a lot of it is tree work, removing that underbrush, continuing to remove that underbrush, continuing to keep the trees up above, so if a ball rolls under there, a golfer can pitch out or maybe get lucky and hit a shot to the green. That goes back to my original conversation with everybody 5 years ago, was playability, making the course more enjoyable to play, making it more playable to play. We've done things with improving cart paths. Doug has been very frugal and very efficient on using soils from the park project to increase tees, so we continue to improve the tee boxes. I'll skip to 2025 coming back. You can go to the next page. This is where the wheel sort of hits the ground here and we get some traction. So last year we had 24,193 rounds. Looking very quickly, the year before, would you say, Jim, we had 22,000? Just under 22,000 last year. Our average is at $35.79, which is about $2.50 more than it was last year, $2.50. Using my head, trying to remember and asking these guys, I think when we first started, we were in the high teens as an average. Jim says 16, I'll say high teens. So we've almost doubled the average per golfer since we've taken over. Our gross revenue, as I said last year, I did budget a little bit more, but I didn't budget as much as we turned into for 2023. We ended up with a gross income of $1,243,000. The year before, off the top of my head, I think we had $1,040,000. So we nearly added $200,000 to the top line, and approximately $100,000 of that came to the bottom line. So when it's all said and done, this year, our net operating profit that is split between our company and the township is $241,000. Last year, I believe, it was about $140,000. So I have a check here to deliver to the township for $120,549.
I'll take that.
Does the rounds played, I'm sorry, the average per round, does that include concession or that's just green fees?
That's just greens fees, yeah.
And then, what was the other question I had in there? Oh, during peak time, how close to capacity are we?
It all depends on different things, Trustee Dershowitz. So for instance, leagues were basically normal capacity, I'd call it. Of course, there's times in the morning that you could get a league. Sometimes there's teachers groups that do that in the summertime. But if you're looking at your average at 4 o'clock to almost 6 o'clock, we're basically booked. You know, and part of it has to do with St. John. You know, when St. John closed and went through their remodeling, we were able to reap a lot of those benefits. Now, as St. John reopens again, it's going to be a boom for us also because, you know, their price point is going to be much different than our price point.
Yeah, that's different.
What do you anticipate the difference in price point is?
Enormous.
$50?
No, they're saying 150 at St.
Well, the
John.
difference.
The difference is
Yeah,
what
the
I'm
difference
saying.
is going to be about $50. You're right, Trustee Kermit. It's going to be about that.
I heard St. John's was going to be about 150 around.
I know it's over 100. I don't know for sure.
For 18 holes, 150?
Yeah.
Is that with the cart, I hope?
Pardon?
With the cart, I hope?
With a cart, I would assume, yeah. Beyond
Could
that, too.
include a butler,
Private
too.
driver, I mean,
Well, you know, as I said, you know, as they say, water rises, all ships rise. Hopefully, it's good for us. Going back to the leagues, so I don't see us losing leagues back to St. John because the price point is so much different. So hopefully, we've captured those leagues for the long term.
And to follow up on that, Fox Hills is also under new management too.
Yeah.
What are you seeing from them?
That management company has a propensity to have private clubs. So I don't know if they're going to turn private down the road or not, but right now it's staying as is. You know, and they do a ton of banquets, and they have Golden Fox, Fox Hills. So we'll see what happens.
Well, then it'll be full circle because Fox Hills was originally a private club.
Was it back in the day?
Yeah. And Brayburn, the one on 6 Mile, what's up with them?
I don't know anything on Brayburn.
They have 2 courses, right?
Brayburn just has one.
18 holes.
Yeah,
No,
18 holes.
what's the other one? Brayburn, Salem Hills.
Salem.
Used to be owned by the same people
Was
long
it?
ago.
I don't know. It's still, Salem is still there. We know the family that bought it. So that's going to remain a golf course, I would think, for quite some time.
Put a racetrack there, you never know. Just saying.
I wanted to talk about capital improvements and how much the township is going to contribute this year. Do we have a shopping list? Because remember, the $120,000, we paid you $75,000 as a management fee, so we really have about $45,000 to spend, unless we're dipping into our pocket.
So I was looking into that. Over the past, and this is just round numbers, as I was driving, but as I was driving, we've delivered $325,000 to the township. And the township has paid us back $375,000. So it's upside down, let's call it $50,000. However.
Upside down in your favor.
Correct. However, the year before we took on, I believe the township lost $120,000 to the previous management company.
We were losing money every year.
And then if you go backwards, it's worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
So just, you know, obviously I'm using it from our side, $50,000 over 5 years, it's cost you $10,000. And we've improved the golf course dramatically.
Now, what I want to do is kind of establish the budget, that it's not $120,000. I want to make sure that.
We're going to have that debate every year, but it's,
right.
I mean, we're making you got to spend money to get money. And so the management fee, I would say we're getting reimbursed for our management fee.
Right, we did.
You know.
120 minus 75.
The township is broken even and then, in fact, made the golf course even better. That's why I look at it.
And to answer the question, what we do is we have a dedicated line item somewhere in the budget that's golf course revenue. And what happens is that the management of the golf course comes to us and says, this is what we're looking for this year. And it's mostly, I would say, almost exclusively tree maintenance and brush maintenance, because it has historically been a very overgrown course. And now we'd like to look more into the clubhouse and improving the clubhouse, possibly with that, the patio and everything. And so also you guys have been very proactive with the new road, with Powell Road now being paved, and we used ARPA money for that. But you guys also then were compensated for trimming and removing a lot of the dead growth and the dead stuff and overgrowth that was there along Powell Road. And I didn't imagine how attractive that would be, but it's become a much better visual, more welcoming, more professional looking entrance.
This is what was done in the last 2 weeks, right? 2 or 3 weeks along Powell Road?
There was
the north side, the south side of Powell Road?
It was in the late, come on up.
2 to 3 weeks?
No, come on up.
The last, yeah, we've been working on that for about the last month, cleaning that up.
And have you been able to use or make good use of the township wood chipper, or not valuable?
Oh, no, we've used that a lot. That's been, a couple of my staff are here tonight who have been running that chipper day and night. Well, now they haven't. They've been running it during the day and have done just a great job. You know, these guys were working for us. Every dollar we pay them, we get $2, $3 back. So then the chipper has really been very helpful. It's a beast.
So it is working well. All right, that's good. Because I think last year you didn't use it last season, was it?
We didn't get it out on the golf course, no.
But this year you did.
Yes, it's been on the golf course and in the property, Golf View Park, and the cleanups on that.
And then what about the carts? What do you have plans for the carts this year?
So do propose the windshields. We tried a cheaper fix for, the carts do not have windshields. Typically, and those carts are relatively brand new. Typically, carts had the folding windshields in front of them. We went a cheaper route trying to have that. We just tried it. It didn't work. So unfortunately or fortunately, we're going to have to go the normal beefed up windshield. That invoice, we'll present it at some point here. It's about $9,000. 7,000.
We need to do that, though.
More? I don't remember. 15,000, Jim says. Well, we'll send that over.
Educate me, what is the benefit of the windshield, since you're not going 40 miles an hour?
No, but, we're busy in the spring, we're busy in the fall. When it's 45, 50, like, here we are in February, we're going to be busy to the benefit of the customer having a windshield.
Oh, so it's to keep cold wind off.
It does help, yeah. It does help. And rain not so much, but keeping it a little bit warmer, it does help.
What about GPS?
I have that on here. It's gotten a little bit more expensive this year. I'm just not too sure yet what we're going to do on that. Right now, we're just going to hold off. We have it at one of the other courses we manage at Howell. We got it late last season. It's worked out very well. The one difference is the Hunter's Ridge, where it's at, if you drive into an area you shouldn't, a restricted area, it beeps, which doesn't necessarily prevent the person from doing that. And I think a municipal golf course such as Hilltop, you really want to prevent. There's a lot of folks that have just started playing golf that don't understand all the rules. So having the golf cart, typically what it does is it'll stop and you only can go in reverse. And I think for Hilltop, that's more of the system that we have to look at. So down the road, neighborhood supervisor, that's something that we might look at.
What about the parking lot? When was the last time that was resurfaced? Does it need resurfacing? Let me rephrase.
I was told back in my Total Sports hat on, it was every couple of years you should have it sealed. I know it needs striping, because I did notice that.
Okay.
So this year it probably should be striped and sealed.
Why don't you send me an email and we can get working on that?
Okay.
How does staffing work when you guys just randomly open, like in February? Do you have people on call? Oh.
That's them.
Sure it is. That's the set.
Yeah, that's how we do it. And over 5 years,
They wake up from their hibernation.
Well, you have a core group of folks. Not everybody goes down for Florida. So we have the core group, and then we call them up and utilize them. Worst case that I've told Jim, if we didn't have any staff there besides just somebody in the shop, we might have done walking only at Hilltop. But it sounds like we're going to have some starters and rangers out there, so we'll have the carts going.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, any other questions for Tony and friends?
Thank you very much.
Who all is here from the golf course? Just raise your hand. Okay. And about the guys in the back? You guys?
Will?
Golf
You're
course?
from the golf You golf course?
You golf course people? Okay, all right. Thank you very much for everything you do. You guys are doing a great job for us, and we're providing, most importantly, a quality service for for our residents and guests, and that's the important thing.
Thank you.
So thanks. Okay, there's no motions or anything with that, so we're going to give that to Bob, actually. He's the treasurer,
thank you.
so.
Thank you. No,
Yeah.
it's only 1B.
Uh-huh. All right, so hold on.
I'm gonna go put this somewhere safely.
I got paperwork all over the place. Okay, so Bob's gonna put that in the safe right now. Let's move on to item F3, non-union salary adjustments. Comments, questions? Basically, well, I'll just say that at a minimum, the non-union employees are receiving a 3% raise. We do have other individuals that are receiving more than that. It's not a huge number, but it's primarily in the leadership roles of police, fire, the two chiefs, along with our finance director and her deputy. Otherwise, everybody else is looking at a 3%.
So where, this amount of $5,200 covers all of these raises?
Yeah, because we budgeted for raises, so this is the overage.
Oh, this is in addition to what we budgeted for?
Right.
And why did this come up, and who's getting this 5,200?
It's spread out. So like if we budgeted, I don't know, 100,000, then we were over by 5,200. So the 5,200 is the budget adjustment that we're making as part of this.
In other words, we under budgeted $5,200.
Yeah.
Okay. And where is the list of all of the raises?
We can get you that list via by job title. And you can do it by job title.
So who's going to send that to us?
I can do that.
You're going to send it to all of us, right?
Sure, I can do that.
So it'll be the previous wage, the raise, and then the new wage?
Yeah, we can do that. Okay, any questions? No? You want to make a motion?
Yes, please.
Let's, Bob is coming in, good. Perfect timing.
Once again, I'm grateful that the government relations person from Wayne County came here, and I know he said he has to leave at 8 o'clock. Township government covers over 92% of all land mass in the state of Michigan. So we're especially grateful that you came to Plymouth Township tonight. The motion reads, I move that Plymouth Township Board of Trustees hereby adopt resolution number 2024-02-06-08 to approve salary increases for non-union employees.
Okay, motion's made by trustee Stewart. Is there a second? Second by trustee Monahan. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Supervisor Heisler?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz?
Yes.
Trustee Monahan?
Yes.
Trustee Buckley?
Yes.
Trustee Kermy?
Yes.
Clerk Borba, yes. Motion
Okay,
carries.
thank you very much. Item F4 is Patrick Fellrath, our DPW director, is here for the CDMSI bid award. We have a policy of no acronyms, so you have violated that fully tonight. Tell us what this is all about.
All right, good evening. Unfortunately, this is another unfunded mandate from the state and the federal government. The federal EPA and the state of Michigan lead and copper rules require that community water supplies, including Plymouth Township, complete a comprehensive inventory of distribution system materials, including service lines that are on both private and public property. The inventory shall be completed and submitted to both the US EPA and the state by October of 2024. Requirements for completing the inventory, and there is an acronym, it's CDSMI, which represents Complete Distribution System Materials Inventory. Requirements for completing it include physically verifying a minimum number of existing service lines. And for Plymouth Township, it's approximately 300.
How do you calculate that?
That is based on the number of unknown service lines you have within the township, and unfortunately, the criteria, the definition that's set forth by the state, we have a very high number of unknown service lines because historically we never inventoried materials on private property. So we're stuck with physically verifying that number of service lines. And what I mean by physically verifying is that we have to actually dig up where the curb stop valve is for each service line. And the curb stop valve for each service line is usually located by the sidewalk or the property line. Dig it up, and 18 inches on both sides of the curb stop, we have to photograph and document the material. That would represent the outside portion on both public and private property. It also requires that we have to access the building or the home and photograph, document the material where the service line enters the home, either up to the first shutoff valve or 18 inches, whichever is shorter.
18 inches inward or outward?
Inward.
All right.
So those are the tasks before us. We issued a request for bids, and there's a letter by Spalding D. Decker that recommends an award for a contractor to assist us in completing the outside work, the outside portion where you have to dig up at the curb stop and document the material. There's just too many service lines, and we have to meet this deadline that was recently pushed up by the federal government. So that's where we're at, and that's what this is all about tonight. We recommend a contractor named Pipeline Management Company. They're from Milford, Michigan. SDA tabulated the bids, and they did contact several references. So they are a reputable company that has done water sewer type work in the surrounding area.
Low bid by about $40,000.
Yeah, they are the lowest responsive bidder.
Bids were all over the map.
So,
can you tell us how you're going to select the 300 unlucky properties that are going to have a huge hole dug in their front yard?
It's not a huge dug.
Well, it's going to be a hole that's at least the depth of the water line.
Correct, but it's usually hydro excavated, and it's not a big hole, but it does have to be dug up and filled in.
And then
we already done approximately, I don't know. We've done many in-house. We can't.
And how many hours?
We don't have the capacity to do this many.
How many hours does the resident or the business have to be open or home to allow them in?
We do not shut off the water.
No, but you got to come in and take the photograph.
Yes, that's
my
what
point.
we're doing in-house, and that's step two. This, what you have before you tonight is really the outside work. We have been and continuously been working to get inside the homes and businesses to photograph the line, and it hasn't been easy, obviously.
You photograph only the ones that you're excavating, right? It's the
Correct.
same one.
Yes, it's
Not
the
just
same one.
a different group.
No, it's the same one.
And you know better than I do that we don't have any lead service lines in Plymouth Township.
We have a handful.
But that was legacy from when they were hooked to the city of Plymouth.
Correct, yeah.
Since 1961, when we installed water here, it's all copper, and we know that. This is a massive waste of money. It tells you what your government can do to you in Lansing or Washington. Wow.
These are houses that are, properties that have already been identified as having lead lines?
No, we don't have
it's
such a
just
thing, Bob.
investigation.
No lead lines in Plymouth Township.
Not even in some of the really old properties?
They're gone. They've been fixed.
Although you and I both know this is stemming from the whole lead crisis.
Yeah, Flint.
However, the way the rule is written is complete inventory. So if you go to them and complain about lead lines, they say, well, this is not about lead lines. This is about having a comprehensive inventory of all the different types of materials. So copper, galvanized steel, lead.
When will they start the digging? When?
So we hope to start in March.
Okay.
And we hope to have this project done before people start turning on their irrigation systems and start taking care of their lawns. We want to go in and out as fast as we can.
So who's going to take the phone calls when people start calling my office?
They're directed. We will send a letter to everybody to give them a heads up.
Okay.
And there will be a number for DPW. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, how were they selected, the 300?
So the state collaborated with the University of Michigan under some type of grant. And they had that question, well, how do we get everyone to do
Only Spartans.
a complete distribution inventory when a lot of people don't know what they have in terms of service lines. And they came up with this statistical method where you take a statistically significant sample from, so they have this methodology where you randomize everything and you spit out the
address?
Yeah, by the addresses, locations. So yeah, this is under a Eagle State of Michigan methodology, a statistical formula where we generated the 300 lucky addresses.
So how many hours do you have to be home
1 in
to do
30
this?
chance of being selected.
To let the person in and
It
whatever?
only takes 10 minutes
10
for
minutes.
us to walk down the basement, take a picture, and walk out. And like I said, we do not turn off the water when we're excavating the curb stop. And we're usually there for maybe 2 to 3 hours at the most.
Okay, that's very comprehensive.
And you've got the list, I could come and look at the list of addresses?
Yes, absolutely. We got the list.
All right.
Made sure your house was on.
Anybody else?
Make a motion?
Figured it would be.
Are we all, wait a minute, you have any questions? No?
No, I was gonna make a motion.
You're good? Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to award the contract for water service material investigations to Pipeline Management Company in the amount of $167,250.
Motion's made by trustee Buckley. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Stewart. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Supervisor Heising.
Yes.
Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Trustee Kermy.
Yes.
Trustee Borshevitz.
Yes.
This is awful. Trustee Stewart. Really?
Yes.
Trustee Monahan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, so thank you very much, Patrick. The next item is just continued discussion on animals in township parks. Kevin, I know you've been busy lately with horses more than other dogs and cats.
It's an animal.
Yeah, so just can you, or Chuck, do you guys have anything new to share with us on that issue?
Well, what I would say is that there's going to be 2 chapters of the Code of Ordinances that are going to have to be modified or amended. First of all, would be Chapter 90, and that deals with animals. What I will do in that one is add new Section 90.24 to make the owner or person in charge of a dog while off the owner's premises responsible to clean up after the dog if the dog defecates on other public or private property. The other section that will have to be changed is the park ordinance to, and I'm still waiting for what the parameters of what animals does the board want to let in. The last time I believe it was dogs and cats.
So when you say ordinance, so you're talking about the policy?
I'm talking about the park. The park ordinance is going to have to be changed because.
Is there a park ordinance?
Which section?
Yes.
Yeah, the one that
Parks and
says no
Recreation.
dogs.
Says no dogs, horses, motorbikes, things like that.
Okay.
That will have to be changed to eliminate the reference to no dogs or other animals.
But then it needs to refer to this other one about cleanup, right?
It does not. Those are 2 different sections of the Code of Ordinances.
So you can't reference it like the other communities seem to be not in the park. They don't specifically talk about a lot of details. They rely on this other ordinance that says you have to clean up and keep your dog on a leash.
Here's the section of code, right, 9303?
Yes. Well, actually, it's 90.
9303.
That might be the park ordinance, but the animal ordinance is Chapter 90. And it does not contain a provision that requires the owner or the person in charge of the dog to pick up the dog's poop while the dog is not on the owner's premises. And that would be public or private property.
Yeah.
And that would include the park.
9303 says it shall also be unlawful for persons to have dogs, cats, horses, or mini bikes in any public park in the township. That's kind of an interesting combination.
Combo, yeah.
Which one doesn't go with the others?
Which one doesn't look
It's
like
like
the
a-
other?
Well, years ago, people used to ride horses around the western part of the township, so maybe that's why they did that.
So
Mini bikes.
9303
Or race them.
is one of the
Stop
two two ordinances that will have to be changed.
What are we doing for dog leash length? What's the consensus based on benchmarking of other communities?
There is not much.
We need to specify a reasonable length. No more than 10 feet or no more than 6 feet or something. Because you don't want people on a 20-foot, dogs on a 20-foot leash, because the dog can get away from you and do things to people before you realize it.
And I know that from personal experience. That happened to me when I was walking in my neighborhood trying to keep from becoming more overweight than I am. And I walked by a golden retriever that was being tended to by a 9-year-old girl, and it was a long, expandable leash, and there was a lot of slack in that leash. I walked by the dog, and I just said, "Hi, doggy," and 2 steps later, the dog's fangs penetrated into my calf.
Oh, my gosh.
I know a good lawyer.
I did not sue my neighbor.
Interesting.
Called them doggy.
So let's agree now on what we should do. We want 6
What
or
is the
10?
typical length?
6 is the
6?
typical one. But is that adequate?
6,
We can have Sarah check into that
And what
too.
do you do with people who already own these retractable leashes?
Well, you can adjust
retract
it.
it.
You adjust it to the 6 or to the 7, whatever it is.
And those leashes can lock.
Yeah. Okay, I know Bob had a question earlier about
Yeah.
kennels.
We'd sent it, it was just a cleanup issue.
Yep.
In one section, we say, in 9010, we say, no person shall own or operate a kennel. More than 4 dogs are considered a kennel, but there's another section when it said nobody can have more than 3 dogs.
Exactly, there's a conflict.
There was a conflict. Where
Let's
was
clean
that?
that up.
We just need
Well,
to
does
clean it
kennel
up.
mean a business kind of kennel, or does it mean?
By definition, if you have 4 or more dogs,
4 or
you're
more dogs is
considered to be a kennel.
In other places, it says 3.
Kennel, I suppose.
Yeah, 3 is the one
which
I've
one are we
always
going with,
been
the
aware
3 or
of.
the
3.
4?
Yeah. but
We had a lot of discussion about this several years ago when we changed the ordinance. We
Yeah.
just, in the definitions, we missed it. And somebody pointed it out the
No,
other day.
I get calls on
I
it all
think
the
you just
time.
skipped over kennel. You just skipped
Did I?
over it again, yeah, stop. A place
Oh,
where
yeah.
more than 3 dogs are kept.
You're right.
90.10 refers to
Dog. The species.
more than 4 dogs.
So we want to, several years ago, we had a lot of discussion about this. And at that time, the consensus was 3 dogs was the maximum.
So
But there are some people that have 4.
But you just said more than 4, which
Well,
would be
the
5.
definition of kennel in the ordinance says a place where more than 3 dogs are kept. But the kennel license provision provides that any person who keeps more than 4 dogs, which are 3 months old or older on any one property, shall be deemed to be operating a dog kennel.
The definition says 3 dogs.
No,
in
but
the-
it says
Yes.
more than 3.
Right, but the other section says more than 4.
Oh, it says more than?
Yes.
I get calls on it all the time, people complaining about their neighbors.
Do you?
Yeah,
But I can have
But
an
because they have
unlimited
more than
number
2
of
dogs,
cats.
more than 3 dogs?
yeah.
You can have 90 cats, but only
So
3 dogs.
I can still be a crazy cat person, right? I can have lots of cats.
What
Good to
when
know.
people call and complain, what are they complaining
Oh,
about?
there's complaining about their neighbor. Oh, they
Too many dogs?
too many dogs, yeah.
So did they
And
talk
you
to
have-
their
and you
neighbor?
have the part of there where a dog may have a litter, you know what I'm saying?
That's
And-
why it says more than 6 months old.
Yeah, exactly. So you get people that they'll have a litter and then they are having trouble getting rid of them or whatever, and then they call and. Wow. It's hard to enforce something like that. Because you go there and say, how old is your dog? Oh, 4 months and 9 days and 3 hours.
2 minutes.
So where do we go from here? Do you want to just start giving us like a draft of what you would, based on what you've heard from us?
I can do that. There are going to be some provisions that are going to require discretionary considerations by the board, such as number of dogs, length of leash.
I think we should be prepared to act on this at the next meeting, which is in March.
I can have it ready.
That's a month.
Yep.
You got a month.
With the background so that if we have some decisions to make, we have the backup to be able to know what the decision points are, what other communities are doing, or what the police department thinks, or whatever.
What about dog licenses in general? Are we?
Oh, that's,
are we
yeah.
Too lenient? Are we too strong?
The ordinance provides that a person shall not harbor or keep any dog that is not licensed pursuant to the requirements of this subchapter.
I think we need to say that if they are in the park, the dog has to be licensed.
By some municipality, if it's not us, it's gotta be somebody else.
Licensed dog,
Yeah, by somebody else at least.
Yeah.
In fact, Bob, I still think we need to raise the license plate, the 50-year-old $5 to something else, and work to get people to buy them.
Well, if they're walking their dog, they don't have a license.
Especially now.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. We don't have a dog license. I wouldn't even know where to get one.
You come to the treasurer's office.
We have a dog
And you have to
license.
bring your proof of vaccination.
Rabies.
And then we enter it in the system, and it's $5. So I think $7 after June 1st.
Get in early.
Yeah.
No, we own a very small percentage of dogs are licensed in Plymouth Township.
Yeah.
What do you sell?
Doesn't seem
Fewer than
very
1,000?
widely Publicized.
But I ran a report last year. I think it was
100.
It was in the hundreds, I think.
Yeah.
700 or 800.
Definitely less than 1,000. And we have probably 5,000 plus dogs.
Or more.
Or more.
Well, what is the purpose of for licensing?
Rabies prevention. State
Is
law.
rabies still a thing?
State law, yes, it's still a state law. In fact, it's getting some more traction with rabies
Coyotes.
being transferred from coyotes
Yep.
and raccoons to domestic dogs.
Oh.
And
Bats as well.
bats is the other one. And, you're starting to hear about dog maulings and all that stuff, so people want to be protected. 150 years ago, it was
Deadly.
it was a very dangerous thing because a lot of dogs were rabid and people would die in a week of getting rabies.
My vet even recommended that cats be licensed because of bats attacks. So
It's attacks or they're eating the bats?
no, the bats are biting the cats.
Biting the cats.
Kind of sounds like a Dr. Seuss.
Cats and the bats.
The cat in the hat and the bat.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a public health,
Safety.
yeah, public health reason.
What I can do is draft one ordinance to make all of these revisions.
That's a good idea.
We've done that before. We did a pretty comprehensive ordinance. I don't remember what the topic was, but we kind of just, every section, it was like, change this to that, change that to this.
So what do we do? Do we crack down somehow
On what?
on the fact that there's such a low
We're having the
penetration
treasurer
of
go
the
around
number?
to house to house.
Let's find out what
Send a
are other
letter.
people doing?
Dog, show me your license.
What are other communities doing? I still think trying to get veterinarians to push it would be a great thing. When you get your rabies shot, here's your license too that you're going to need to buy.
Or at least a
The rabies,
notification.
pardon?
At least a notification, go to your community and get your license. If not, bad things can happen to you.
You could put
like-
it in the
Have signage.
newsletter.
And newsletter, signage, we're going to have signage at the park too, of some sort, so.
I think it protects everyone. If people understood the reason behind, the licensing issue, it's not a collection.
Not a revenue thing.
It's not- Exactly, it's not for collection of money. There's some serious reason why we have this.
And it's easy to get them. I mean, it's all you got to do is bring the paperwork in and it takes 2 minutes.
Although that's inconvenient for many people. They don't want to come into the township hall. I don't know how we invent something,
Do it
some other
online.
way.
Have
We
them
have
do it,
to
have
see
them do it
them.
online with a credit card and you mail them
That's a lot of work you got to mail though, right? You don't have the time to do
Make it
that.
$10,
Yeah, you'd have to.
You do it if you come in, it's $5, we mail it to you, it's 10.
Do we still have a convenience fee?
Yeah, we got to do something. Probably, especially now if we allow dogs in the park. It's got to be more accessible to get, or people need, I'd say there's a large percentage of people who are under 50 years old that don't know what a dog license is or think it is just something the municipality is doing to collect money. They don't
Let me think
understand
about it a little bit. Maybe there is a different approach we could take.
the rabies
Okay,
thing.
so Kevin, you've got some direction?
Yes, and what I will do is try to forward a draft of the proposed ordinance to every member of the board before the meeting, so that'll make the meeting more efficient.
But we cannot deliberate online about this.
No,
ordinance.
no, no.
So if we have any changes, comments, or questions, we have to deal directly with you.
Individually.
Do not hit reply to all.
Right.
So put that in the last sentence of the cover email.
In red.
Do not.
Do not
Go round robin.
reply to all. Okay, are we all set for now on that? Alrighty. Then public comment again, item G.
Mary Ann Adams. Since I didn't get to finish my comments, and Heather got to go way beyond 3 minutes, but I really appreciate the library as well, so thank you. Just a few last items. Is there any further significance to the expiration date of the PUD at this point? The 27th?
Are we, Kevin, I don't know if you want to comment on that, so.
I don't think so.
Okay, all right. And then this is a learning experience for me. Can you share your opinion as to what point you feel 100% confident that this is done and over with?
We can't
Never.
speculate like that.
Anybody who's got 200
What's the
bucks to
subject,
file a
what is the
lawsuit.
statute of limitations for something like this?
You gotta bog up a mirror.
6 years? Because it's a contract.
100% guarantees.
Wow.
175, isn't it?
I mean,
Then if you
I'm
ask
not
for a
answering the
jury-
question because I'm
If you ask for a jury, it's more.
purely speculative and involves legal conjecture.
Well, that's a fair answer.
Okay.
And then I wanted to ask one more question. Did they need to obtain a race meeting license prior to purchasing the property, saying that they could run their facility, or does that come afterwards? Does anybody know that?
That is a matter for the Michigan Gaming Control Board.
Okay, so something I can take up with them. And then I would suggest, just going forward, it looked like you have the capability to allow people to participate on Zoom. So anybody that wants to comment further in the community, if you want more people to participate in this community, you should allow Zoom, because a lot of people can't come directly to the meeting, and you demonstrated with Jim Harless that Zoom is very possible in these meetings. I've done that in many other government meetings, so just a suggestion. Thank you.
Okay.
Speaking of coyotes, I just want to make everybody aware, this is coyote mating season. 2 of my neighbors' cats have disappeared, and I've spotted coyotes on my security cameras. I'm right next to the township park, so just be aware. But right now, watch your little, especially your little animals. So, but 2 cats have disappeared, for sure. Thank you.
Okay, hearing no one else, we are going to move on to board comments. John Stewart.
I have quite a list. Do you want to
Oh, no.
make
Do you want to come?
last?
Can we
Still
come back?
early, go for it.
Can we come back to you later, or are
Sure.
you still gathering your
Either now
thoughts?
or, you know.
All right, we'll
still
go
have
over to trustee. You want to do it? Chuck, are you ready?
I have questions for Jerry, though, that have to do with election. So do you want to do your thing
Well, let's
first?
do Jerry's thing. Maybe he'll answer. You want to go
We're
first?
passing
Jerry?
it around.
Let's go, Jerry.
Okay, we've received about 6,000 applications back of the 11,000 that we have sent out. And so we're at that level of sending out ballots. We've received about 50% of that back already. So there's still a lot of outstanding ballots out there. I would tell people that of those people that have those other, 2,500 or 3,000 ballots, get those back as soon as possible. Because there is a process that we go through in checking all this in. We're checking signatures, confirming the numbers right, and so there's a lot of time that goes into receiving a ballot. So the sooner you get them in, the sooner that we can get it done in an orderly time. If you wait, then you end up having employees working a lot of overtime, working late on election day and stuff like that. So there's a human side to it, is what I'm saying. So if you can get those back in, would really appreciate it. The early voting is starting on not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
What date is that?
That's the 17th through the 25th, so there's 2 weekends involved. And it will be from 9 to 5 each one of those days. And then if you don't vote absentee, or if you don't vote early voting, then you will, on election day, return to your regular voting precinct. And that it goes from 7 till 8. Also, the Saturday before the election, even though the early voting is open, the township clerk's office will be open, okay, from 8 to 4:30, where people can come in and either register to vote, to get an absentee ballot. So you do have that time period, or to come and turn it in. I would, again, if you've got it, if you want to vote that and get it back to us, it really helps. And then on Monday, you can get a ballot, but you have to vote it here. You can't take it away with you. So
That's February 26th.
That's February 26th, and that's, it stops at 4 o'clock. So even though we're open at 4:30, by statute, it stops that. If you give us an application after Friday at 5 o'clock, we can't mail it to you. It's a statutory rule that we don't mail after that. Of course, there are emergencies. If someone's in a hospital, something like that, we've made trips to hospitals for certain situations. So, so please, if you haven't returned your ballots, get them in. If you haven't returned your applications, get those in. Make sure you make a ballot selection. You either select a Republican ballot, which will have the Republican candidates on it, plus the school millage. The Democrat will have the Democrat candidates in the school millage. The nonpartisan one has no candidates on it. It's just the ballot, just the millage question. So don't think that you say, oh, I'm not going to tell people who I am and I'm going to get a ballot. You'll be surprised. We've made over 300 calls to people for signature verification. We've made a couple hundred calls to people who have failed to make a selection. And
What does that mean, failed to mean?
Well, on a ballot style.
Oh.
They've returned the application, but they didn't specify what they want, so we've got to call them.
Oh, you don't default it to the nonpartisan?
Well, at a certain point, at the end, toward the end there, if they haven't done it, then we have to, by statute, send them a nonpartisan ballot, but that's all part of the state law. So there are a lot of changes, and so we're working very hard. The state has, because of all the changes, they've been kind of delayed in getting us material and information for processes, but we're working very hard to try to make it a very smooth election process. This will be a learning curve for everybody in the state, because it's the first time we've done it in this fashion.
Are you still looking for people to serve as poll workers?
Well, we've already submitted the inspectors to the different parties and to the county and to the state. We did that today. It's not to say that you can't come in, because we may have someone get sick or have a family emergency. It doesn't hurt for you to come in and apply, and then if we need you, I can give you instructions. I'll train you, and then we can fill you in. But as of right now, it appears that we have enough. Okay. But it doesn't hurt to apply.
Where did the final ratio come out of Democrat to Republican? The target is 50%, but what did it come out as?
It varies in every election. This time around, in the early voting, it's pretty 50-50. In the precincts, it's probably, about 55% Democrat.
55% Democrat in a township that is 55% Republican?
It's about
or 60?
It's about who applies. It's about 55-45.
You mean of the ballots requested?
No, the workers.
Workers.
Oh, workers.
I can only have working for me people that are interested in doing it. And so historically, we have, over the past several elections, received more Democrats seeking to do the work.
That's alarming in a community like this. Now, does that include your staff, which is predominantly Democrat, right? Is it in that count?
I don't ask them what they are. I know that when I sign for all the documents, I know that my deputy is a Democrat because we have to sign Republican and Democrat, okay? So I know that, but the other ones, I don't ask them what their affiliation is because they have no statutory reason to.
Okay, so they don't count in that 50% target?
No, this is just the people who are the inspectors who are actually working in the precincts.
Jerry, thanks for all you guys are doing. I mean, they're doing just, I mean, I see massive amounts of people working hard all the time.
It is, with all the new requirements, it's costing more time, more money, more overtime. And I want to say, I do thank you for recognizing the people that are working very hard on this.
Yeah, they are.
It's very appreciative.
Okay, Trustee Stewart, are you ready now?
Okay. Thank you for an absolutely wonderful idea that you would consider starting the trustee meeting times at 6:30.
Well, I said 6 o'clock, but that was.
Oh, even 6 o'clock?
When you were in my office the other day, I mean, I thought it was pretty effective when we had those closed
Holland
sessions.
City Council starts at 6 o'clock and they open with prayer.
But
And they're a city of 35,000 plus.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one item. Community development. Glad to see Mr. Heitman here tonight. What more can we do to assimilate and help with developments? And I understand the Spires project is coming back. I'm going to call my friends who have lived there for 50 years, Wendy Harless and Sandy Dodge, and see if they say okay or not. Assimilate. The state of Michigan, the governor's office appropriated $4 billion for a battery plant in Marshall, Michigan, and the residents, the citizens there, just totally said no thank you. So I talked to Neil Sheridan, the executive director of the Michigan Townships Association, and he said to me, sometimes development can be anathema. Okay, that's another one. I want to thank the citizens, and this, I should have said this first, and Mary Ann Adams for their citizen comments that were respectful, credible, and sincere, and well-researched, certainly since April of 2023. New recycle bins have been distributed in Lake Point. I promise not to mention her phone number, but she's a gem, Sarah Wiesel. Solid waste, and let's respect, Supervisor and I were at the funeral mass for Maury Breen at St. Kenneth's this past Saturday. We were there for a good hour and a half. Maury Breen implemented the first recycle plan for Plymouth Township. Those orange baskets that we still have between 1988 and 1992. And he appointed a task force, he got grassroots support, and he had Jim Anowitz research it from A to Z and Z to A, and that was the birth of our recycling.
Your time is up.
My time's up. So I wanted to thank him for that, and that was citizen comments. My last point is...
Why are new bins being distributed in Lake Point?
I can't...
Why are new recycle bins going into Lake Point? What caused that?
Ripped hoods off their hinges.
Oh, they're damaged and being replaced.
Very damaged. Right. Yeah. I mean, only... when people have told me about how they've repaired
the damage we replaced
the hoods, and once the lids are off, you can only shake it so many times. And finally, tomorrow, I know something the supervisor is following very closely. At 11 o'clock in the appropriations room in the state capitol, the governor will reveal the $83 billion state budget, which is more than doubled in the last 20 years and has direct ramifications on our township. As I indicated earlier, township form of government covers more than 92% of all the land mass. Therefore, cities are only about 8% of the land mass in Michigan. And a budget is a moral statement. We're all well aware the supervisor puts public safety at the very top, which is why we have police and fire as our #1 priority in our budget. But the state budget will be disclosed tomorrow, and the surplus has been spent. Fortunately, there's a $1 billion rainy day fund, but the $9 billion has been appropriated that was a surplus. So I don't know where we're going with this, but
Tax increase.
I'll let the supervisor keep tabs on it.
Okay. Trustee Buckley.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what Trustee Dorshowitz was saying about Clerk Vorva. I've seen it firsthand coming in and doing the election accuracy test last week, as well as Trustee Monahan and I just had an election committee meeting. I mean, he is absolutely squared away when it comes to election. And the level of trust that the community should have and can have in him is just amazing. He's an impeccable and hard worker. We got a view of all the rooms that are being taken over here, and you know, he showed us every last little thing from tearing off tabs, and it just the level of meticulousness that needs to go into this, and you're doing an amazing job. It was kind of a busy week for me as well. Went to the chamber annual breakfast. It was my first time attending, and I have to say that I walked out of there just feeling very, very proud to be a citizen of Plymouth Township, and of course our beautiful relationship with the city of Plymouth. So many great things going on, and we're a thriving community, a beautiful community. I couldn't be more proud after I walked away from that. An update on the Veterans Commission. We will have, sir, our March 4th meeting will be at the VFW at 6:30 p.m. We've had to move it because of all the rooms being taken up here. So that'll be something new that'll be posted as well. So at the VFW, 6:30 p.m. March 4th. We have a lot of active projects going on that we need to get signed off on, and we're working behind the scenes as well. To include a Facebook page, which we're going to have up and running, which will just really feature the commission and what the commission is doing. And it's not really necessarily for like a veterans resource website or anything like that. It's strictly governmental, commission based, and just to let you know what we're doing and when we're doing it, if we have events and such. And then just a funny story, but something I'm still not used to, my family's not used to, is having police officers come to the door. So I had the pleasure of meeting Sergeant Hinkle last week, and he was training. So there were 2 police officers at the door, and my police officer husband was beside himself because we homeschool, and my 5 kids went running to the door. Mom, there's police at the door, and the dog's barking, and you would just think we would have reacted so much better. So it's kind of embarrassing, you know, to open the door. But anyways, that's how I got introduced to Sergeant Hinkle, and what a great guy.
Yeah, great. Bob?
Taxes are due, well, taxes were due December 1st, but they're late after February 14th next week. So I encourage people, if they have not paid yet, to not mail them. Because they have to be received by February 14th, and the mail has been unpredictable. Rather drop them in the 24-hour drop box if it's not convenient to come in, or pay online, but don't drop them in the mail. Because if we don't get them you know, there's a 3% late fee, and that's the law. So we're running the same run rate as last year. We have, from summer taxes, we've collected about 99% now, so we're almost, we're down to like one page. And winter taxes are on schedule, so things are good.
Okay, great.
So-
We've talked with Jerry, so Audrey.
Yeah, I guess almost the last one. Just two things. First of all, I wanted to thank everyone who came out for the public comment on the horse racing. I know that sometimes it seems that it could be a little contentious, certainly anxiety-ridden for sure. But at the end of the day, it showed us that the democratic process really does work. People had the opportunity to discuss what it was that they wanted with respect to what this board's action should be, and we appreciate that. So thank you. And just a follow-up on Trustee Buckley's comment about Mr. Vorva, I was impressed just looking at all the machinery. I'm like, oh my gosh, just to do your checkbook. It seems like there's a lot of numbers, but going back there and seeing his little, it's not really little, actually. That's not the right word. Seeing his setup for what's going to be an election is amazing. I think it would be a great idea to have some sort of public information night on elections, because I had no idea when I went back there. I thought, oh, we were just going to do this, and whatever, and man, you talk about really meticulous to each ballot, and each ballot, several times thereafter, and a different person thereafter. So there's a lot of people working, and we don't see it. And all I ever thought was, oh, great, I get my ballot in the mail, or I come here to vote. What's the big deal? But there's an amazing amount of work that goes on overtime, working, like Jerry's been working 7 days a week, and without that extra rest day. But, we thank you, Jerry, because we know it was a hard sell, because we didn't have a choice in this area. The state told us what we had to do, and Jerry has certainly made us proud in how he stepped up to the plate to get it done. So thank you.
I'll bet that when you understand the checks and balances and the amount of controls that are in the system, then you realize that, cheating it's impossible. It's a myth.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay, Chuck.
Okay, can I follow up with what I said? I didn't mention the reason why the police officers were at the door.
They deliver the
If you don't
packs.
know, they deliver your packet
Yeah.
by hand to the door. So twice a month, I have police officers at my door, and I should probably tell my neighbors
Yes.
what's going on.
Yeah, nothing
Anyway,
bad. Nothing bad is going on.
Forgot to mention that.
Chuck.
I love this town. The demonstration of professionalism by the people that have opposed the bad developments of the last year or two has been a refreshing experience. Hopefully, we won't have to do it again. On election, I've been told that there's no reference that you can vote in person on election day when people go through our website. Is that true?
We have been voting in person for centuries.
Right. But apparently it didn't tell you that was one of the options you could do. But I
sent
don't
out-
know.
I sent
But
out a letter
That's
to-
what somebody said.
I sent out a letter to 24,100 residents
Anyway.
in December saying all the 3 different ways you can vote.
Yeah. Okay.
For centuries.
Right. I didn't get one of those letters, though.
You didn't?
No, because that was to the
Everybody did.
people with the absentee.
No, everybody got one.
Everyone
I
got
got
one.
Everybody got one.
No, I didn't get
You didn't
one.
get one?
Yeah, you were on the list.
Really?
Yeah.
Told
I
you
got-
not to trust the mail, Chuck.
No, I didn't get one.
Yeah.
All right, didn't know that.
I paid
So that's
for
good.
it.
So there's the answer right there. I got the one, I didn't get it, but people showed me the one that said, oh, that was the one with no letterhead, right?
Yeah. You told me about that.
Yeah, okay.
You
So
did get it.
that one, okay, so that letter. All right, so that's the answer. So the website, it's not necessarily the website, it's the letter you got. So that's the answer to the question.
Yes.
All right, great. So that's what I can tell those people. Joseph is sending out the data in the table. not in a table, the data on
Yeah.
progress. That's excellent, but I don't completely understand it. Maybe you should put it in table. I don't know what the denominator is in some of those numbers.
Yeah.
So he has a quotient. So
Yeah,
I would
so-
recommend putting it in a table form or explaining what the denominator is.
Sure, yeah. Well, what, the high number is number of applications issued, the low number is how many received, and so down the line. So the larger number is always.
Which is the
gonna be-
denominator?
Yes,
All right.
yeah. That's why we had the slash. I thought that was,
Right, but I didn't know what the units, or
Okay.
what it was.
Sure.
All right? Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. So I'm going to go through the, we do not meet again until March 12th because of the election. So I don't want to pile on the Jerry Vorva and staff accolades, but.
We love you, Jerry.
But
I love you, man.
I think considering that these guys are operating without any prior, relevant experience trying to administer a state law that is being literally reworked on the fly by the Secretary of State's office, and yet you operate in some cases without any rules, and you're kind of it's not like you're winging it, but you're trying to make an informed decision on how to best implement what you believe is the mandate without necessarily seeing the mandate. So it's really quite an effort on your part and also on your staff's part. And as inconvenient as this presidential primary is, it is a good dry run for you and your office to see how this all is going to work. And so I think you should, and you're certainly taking advantage of that. And at least you're not Westland where you have to run an election every week right now. So it could be worse. So thank you once again on that. So on the March 12th agenda right now, we're going to have a preview of where we are with the fire station project. So we'll be looking at drawings and floor maps and renderings, and we're going to have some numbers as well from a financial standpoint. I've asked our bond counsel, Tom Colas from Miller Canfield, to attend that night so that if we can get any of our financial questions answered as well. The good news there, Tom told me that our credit rating is a AA+, so AA+, which is the second highest. The best is AAA, and so we are one level below that, which is about as high as you can get in government without printing your own money. So we don't have the ability to do that. So our credit rating is phenomenal, and I think that just goes to all the hard work that we've been doing here for many years as a board and in our various departments. The so-called water tax issue that we voted on at the last meeting continues to generate a lot of attention. I think we're the only community in Wayne County that has come out against that legislation. The Wayne County Commission apparently had quite a tussle over that. They eventually voted to support it, but it was not unanimous, and there was a lot of internal debate amongst the members.
What's the status of the bill?
It is, I believe it's still pending in the state senate right now, and so we're going to continue to monitor that. But I just want to make it clear that, it's like I was interviewed by the Free Press the other day, and of course, you're interviewed for 20 minutes and they only run a small quote. But the thing I pointed out is that, we are a very lean operation here, and we are efficient, and we have our own sewer system, and we're a very well-managed operation. We keep water rates in check. Even though the Great Lakes Water Authority gets us increases every year of 4% or 5%, we're always pretty stable. And so we should be proud of that. And I don't like it when the state comes in and says, now I'm going to put a $36, because it's going to go up to $36, and it's going to be a $36 tax on everybody. And I just want to make it clear that if and when that happens and we get those phone calls, why did my water bill go up so much? We're going to have to, not only explain it, but we want to be on the record as saying that we opposed it when we had the chance, and we did so respectfully.
That's $250,000 out of the taxpayers, or the water users of Plymouth Township, or more.
It's a huge, it's a tax. It's a big tax. On the Salem Sewer Project, emails continue to come in from residents who are concerned about that topic, and those are being sent to the State Department of Environment. And they are looking to do a public hearing at Northridge Church. We're looking right now at, do not put this in your calendar yet, but we are looking at April 4th. The state has to give 30 days notice, and this would be a full-fledged public hearing that would be held at Northridge so that we can accommodate a large number of people. Speaking of the houses of worship, I know the police department, Chief, you guys are going to have your houses of worship strategy meeting coming up next week?
Yeah, Supervisor, we're having all the houses of worship come together. This is a biannual meeting that we have where we bring all the houses of worship in. We have a representative from Homeland Security who talks about grant opportunities. This is a grant writing season for those type of things, security, cameras, different various things that the houses of worship can do to better secure their facilities. So we had our first inaugural meeting last summer. Went very well. We had a very high participation rate from our houses of worship. We feel this is a effective strategy to be very proactive and to really tie in our houses of worship to everything that's going on in our community, as well as having Homeland come in and give advice on ways that they can better protect themselves.
Okay. We also have a new ambulance that's being delivered next week. So Chief Conley is going to be driving out. You're going to pick it up yourself or what?
Our salesperson and I will be going out, I think we're leaving the 25th and coming back the 26th, so.
Okay. So this is the ambulance that we ordered with ARPA money back in 2022?
End of 22, I think we are. I was
Yeah.
trying to figure that. I was talking to someone today. I think it was the end of 22 we ordered it.
It's taken it because of supply chain and other issues. It's taken us a long time to get it, but we'll be putting that online. And then the high mileage ambulance will be held in reserve, so we'll have 4
Currently,
functional.
I believe it's going to be our Rescue 3 has the highest miles on it now.
Okay.
It'll be made Rescue 4 and
Okay.
put into reserve.
Very good. So again, at the March 12th meeting, we'll talk about the fire station and the preview on that. There's also Bob is going to handle an issue out of the IT department involving the data storage contract, and it's all IT stuff. So Bob fortunately knows his stuff on that as well, so he can explain that. We will hopefully have the contract renewal for Assistant Chief Kudra and Lieutenant Krebs. We also then will have the public hearing. I believe it'll be a public hearing and a vote on the Starbucks new building and the new building where the
Planning Commission?
Well, you've already voted on that, so it's going to come to us.
What we need to vote on, is it a zoning change?
Yeah, Bob, you want to
We
just...
recommended no on it.
You did?
No, I'm sorry, it passed 4-3.
Yeah. So that will come to us. That's the new Starbucks proposal for the Applied Fitness, the old Vic Tanny's.
The old Vic Tanny's.
The old Vic Tanny's site. There's a lot of other...
Is it a rezoning, Bob?
Yeah, I'm trying to jog my memory.
It's complicated because there's a consent agreement on there.
Yeah.
So when Vic Tanny came to town
That's why the
in the
car wash got
80s...
defeated. Or got
Well,
shooed away.
The
consent agreement did it.
Probably.
It shoot away everything pretty much. So we have to get rid of the consent agreement, and we have to do it in a way that is thoughtful and in harmony with the neighborhood there. So.
So the problem is that if it's rezoned, then a car wash is a permitted special use within that zoning district if it would be rezoned to C1. So that's the challenge that Lori's got to deal with.
Where's this at?
And Kevin.
Right across the street here.
Tanny, Valley.
So the Applied Fitness.
Right down here, next to Burger King.
Right.
Yeah.
And the vet.
Veterinarian.
Oh, right off the freeway.
Yeah, it's empty right now. They went out of business during COVID.
The first thing that's going to have to be done is the consent judgment is going to have to be modified or terminated.
Who's the consent, who is the other side of the consent judgment?
That's a difficult issue. The named parties are different than the parties who are listed as under the jurisdiction of the court.
But it runs with the land.
It does.
Right.
So whoever owns the land is the other party now, right?
Yes. They would be the successors in interest to the original plaintiff.
So they could sign in their own change because they own
Well,
it?
they have to go to court.
No, the township is also a party to that judgment, so the township will be involved also. It's gonna have to be two to tango.
But the
So
consent
they're willing
agreement,
to do it because they want to make this change to Starbucks.
Yes. That's
it's
the first
hindering,
step.
it's hindering all development there now because Vic Tanny doesn't exist and it has,
And the other people are gone.
it's stopped development at
So
on
they
those
would
parcels.
tear down that whole building?
Yeah,
They're going to tear it down?
yeah.
So, yeah, that can't
And then it'll be a
accommodate
drive-through kind of thing?
It'll be a Starbucks, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what the neighbor's opposition is, Bob, is the drive-through traffic and noise?
It was both the drive-through, but more so the proposed car wash. You know, the car wash operator had talked about, you know, noise-controlled vacuum, stuff like that, but, you know, in the end, you don't put a car wash that close to houses, period. But there was also objections from the neighbors about the, you know, a drive-through at, you know, particularly a Starbucks at 6 o'clock in the morning, you know, with lights shining in and that. So they're gonna have to do a lot on their site plan to block the escape of any ambient light. They're gonna have to do a lot of work with that.
Laura also told me that there's a possibility we could also look at a rezoning at some point as well that would limit options for the future.
Yeah, that's the challenge, is how do you rezone it and not, once it's rezoned, then, you know, the car wash, am I right?
I think what happened was the applicant, through its attorney, filed a proposal before the planning commission to rezone the property after the consent judgment is terminated or amended to ARC.
Right.
If the consent judgment is terminated, the zoning district, I think, would revert to ARC commercial or office 2. I'm not sure, I don't have a memory of that exactly, but it would be the same as all of the other adjacent properties. And then there is a change in zoning district for Burger King, which is ARC, and the applicant wants to change that proposed Starbucks to ARC also. And what that brought from some of the members of the audience, car wash is a special use or permitted use in an ARC, and therefore the applicant would always have the option to apply to have a car wash put on the property.
Right, that's the complication.
That's the complication.
You don't want to get in that box.
No, we don't want to.
There was a reason for the consent to judgment, whenever it was, in the 80s, like 1980 or something.
Well, because
I mean, to fast forward, and the issue right now is that we don't want to get ourselves in a situation where if we were to rezone it, we would lose the ability
control.
to say no to a car wash.
Right.
And if it
That's
is
the catch.
if a car wash is a special use in an ARC district, what the Zoning Enabling Act says is that if a proposed special use meets all of the criteria in the zoning ordinance for a special use, then the planning commission does not have the power to say no to that special use.
Right.
okay then. So it's a little preview of coming attractions. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Stuart, seconded by Mr. Vorba. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
I need to go to sleep.